like I'm sharing information about you, and people want to know what's going on. Who is she? So I told you a few minutes ago, you're like a celebrity out there right now. And so, and I was just on with another person, and where is she from? New Orleans, I think. And she goes, yeah, I want to meet this Tawan. I like, go girl, go. Like,
I love it.
okay. Okay. Looks like we're live finally.
Okay, perfect.
All right. How you doing, Tawan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes. I'm glad I can. And the reason I say that is because I don't really do a whole lot of lives with folks, and but I love to share the story, right? Because all right, I just had to get the recording going. So yeah, I love to share the stories, and because it is a huge encouragement to me, first of all, because that's why I do this, right? I do this because I, when you guys become a part of the mentoring and coaching academy accelerator program, as I tell you from the beginning, like, I'm not in this because I'm just trying to help you make a lot of money, right? You guys all know I'm in this because of the vision, right? The vision that God's given you for your life, that that he's given you, and everything in you is motivated to get you from where you are. I mean, we're grateful, again, we talk about it all the time, for where we are, but is motivated to make sure that you can fully live that vision that God's given you. And so even to the point where we just can't sleep,
right?
So and only when I know that someone has that is when I give them an invitation. And as you know, the program is invitation only. But I spend that hour and we sit and we talk for a bit, and I go deep. And a lot of times people ask, why is he asking all these crazy questions? Like, what's this all about? But for me, like, in order for me to do the things that I do with you guys, and how much time we spend together, that means I'm taking time away from my family, right, and time away from other things that are also very important to me. And so I need to be motivated and moved by something that's bigger than just money,
right?
Because money's always going to be here, but that thing is that vision that God's given you, and the reason why we want that passive income, so that it can support those things. So what I want to do is I'm gonna have you, if it's okay, to chat a little bit just about what. I'm not gonna have you do this first, because I want to talk about a couple quick things first. But I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of heads up, because you don't really, it's not like we spoke a bunch and you just said, hey Jim, I'm ready to, because I mentioned to you, I want to get you on live, like I'm sharing information about you, and people want to know what's going on. Who is she? So I told you a few minutes ago, you're like a celebrity out there right now. And so, and I was just on with another person, and where is she from? New Orleans, I think. And she goes, yeah, I want to meet this Tawan. I like, go girl, go. Like,
I love it.
But think about you too. Like, before you came on, think about like some of the stories you heard. You heard, from Susan and a couple other people that, and it was an encouragement, right? Encouragement. Although you knew it could be done, you knew you could do it. You had the thing to do it. It was just having the right system in the right hand to hold you through that process, right? And so and that's what you're doing, and that's what we do, right? God's given us these gifts, and we give them back so that others can be blessed and achieve what again he has for them as well. So again, you don't really, we didn't really talk about all the things we're going to discuss, and we're only going to be on for about 50 minutes or so.
Okay.
But what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to kind of share a little bit about what you do and what passive income is, why you're doing that, and why it's important to you, and ultimately what is the vision that God's given you, and then what you've achieved so far. So but before that, this is what I want to do. I want to welcome everyone and just say, listen, with Airbnb right now, there's a lot of people asking questions about what this environment that we're in, and is it a good opportunity? Is it a good time? I mean, I get that question probably 5 times a day. Is this a good time? Is this a good time? Is this a good time? And I sound like a broken record. In that, 2 things I tell them. It's a great time, right? In order for preparation, right? And I also shared something today too, like right now you are full, like you're full through up until August. Right. You're on to your next one. So your first one, you're full up until August. I'm not. And the difference between you and me is I got a bunch of them.
Right.
You got a few, and you got one with a few listings, and your focus is just on that on that Airbnb stuff, right?
True.
With me, I'm kind of bouncing around, and I'm not 100% focused. If I was 100% focused, I don't know if I'd be 100% full, but I'd be probably a lot more than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Or a little bit more. I wouldn't say a lot more, a little bit more than I am now. Okay. So I say all that to say this, that people are still, as you know, and I said this to you too, people are still booking.
Yeah.
Right? People are still using Airbnb. Right now we're opening up the country, and some people have just dived right in, and I tell you got to be careful with that, because you still have to be mindful and smart.
You do.
And some people has at least stuck their toe in the water and said, okay, let me get out and let me still practice social distancing and keep my mask on, all that stuff, which is good. That's me. Yeah. And then and being smart and wise about it. But here's the difference between that person, the other person that's just dived right in, and then there's one other person. There's another person that's just locked up, right? They're just locked up. They're not going anywhere. And the problem with that person is they're not really locked up physically, just physically. They're locked up mentally. Like when we were in just full shutdown mode, when it was all brand new to us, and no one, everyone was being careful traveling and this and that. We're telling you can't do this, you can't do that, and no one really knew how to deal with this and how to kind of combat it in a sense. Mm-hmm. There was a difference. There were some of us who just went into lockdown mode mentally. Like, not only were they physically on lockdown and quarantine, but mentally they got locked down and quarantined.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when I hear, like, you and I spoke a couple times, and I even put some of it on video. And one of the things you said was, don't listen. You had people telling you, wait a year until this thing blows over.
Right. And
you said, no, I'm not.
Right.
Like, you said, no, I'm not. Like, I mean, I'm sure you waited out, but you thought about it and you said, no, like, I know. And I gave you some advice too. And it was up to you to make the decision. And you decided, I'm moving forward.
Right.
Right. So you weren't on mental lockdown.
Yeah.
Right. But there's many people out there that are on mental lockdown. And what I said to you and say to a number of the rest of my students is, listen, we're eventually going to open back up. And when we do, you want to be in a position where when people start traveling again, when the money starts to flow again, people start getting comfortable again, you have the resources to provide. Right? To provide for them. And we have the resources to provide.
Yeah.
And so it's been a total shakeup if you use this thing right of who controls what. Because there's a number of people that just shut down. Like some people shut down and are never going to open back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Like we took there's a number of people that took some big hits on Airbnb, big hits. I took some hits on Airbnb. Thankfully, I was able to survive it, but some people couldn't survive it because they're doing things all wrong. Mm-hmm. Right. And based on our methods, I was able to survive it. And then there's a few other, the rest of my students, for the most part, were able to survive it. Some, I know that there's one particularly, I'm not going to mention the name. They mentioned getting out of Airbnb. And that wasn't necessarily because they couldn't survive it. But there's also a mindset of where, some people can only handle so much stress.
True.
Right. And with all this stuff that was happening, like no one has ever seen this before.
Right.
Right. And so now what you're having to do is you're having to kind of manage a little bit the how to get through this process and some of it you got, there's you kind of have to do things a little bit differently. Yeah. Right? Because you got people canceling, you got people booking, you got, the money's not flowing the way it was. And, you don't have projected incomes 3, 4, 5 months out, 6 months out, like we're used to. And so you get nervous. And when you have the mindset where you don't handle pressure or stress very well, like, you just throw your hands up.
Right.
And other than having other people in your corner, like we have with our group, that can encourage you, like what we're trying to do here. Other than that, you got, if you're watching TV and all that other stuff, it's just like, you don't know where to turn.
Yeah.
And so it could be, those two things don't really mix very well together. And so for that type of person, you just throw your hands up and you're done. Okay. But for the majority, what's happening is people are being successful. Like for the majority of that are following our system and doing it properly, they're being successful. So being ready and being willing and open to when things start to open up and, people, when they're looking for a place to go, because people are still booking, even though they're not traveling for leisure, they were still booking because of our niche, right? Our niche is travelers, and people are booking, coming in, and then extending because they got work assignments, that contracts that actually extended, so they extend, and that's great. That's our niche. But then the other part, which is where I got hit, I'm feeling it a little bit, which is the whole graduation thing. Like I had a number of people that came in for graduations, and that didn't happen this year. Mm-hmm. So this time of the year, I'd probably be about double my income of where I am today. Okay. And so, but it's okay because I understand the business. Like I know, and I can also see I got enough resources between me and the rest of us as far as the students. I know the activity that's happening. So I know people are booking and it's increasing. It's slowly increasing. So as long as you just keep a sound mind, you continue to follow, good principles, then you're going to be just fine. Right. You're going to be fine. And so, so there's no need for panic. There's always time for prayer. I'm praying for all you guys all the time, every day. I'm praying for you guys, and I'm hoping that you're praying for one another and praying for me as well, because we all need it. But with that said, that I wanted to at least answer that question. One is this a good time? So yes, it's a good time, because also don't forget, and you experienced this too, landlords out there, right? Especially 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, they were motivated.
They were, yeah.
Very motivated. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And now you're seeing something a little bit different. Now that things are starting to kind of settle down a little bit, you're seeing that there's more people out there looking to rent. Maybe not for Airbnb, but just normal tenant, right? So your pick of the, you know, of the inventory may not be as easy as it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? When you first started. So, but it's still out there. So you were able to get a great deal out in the suburbs in a beautiful neighborhood for probably 50% less than what you would normally gotten it for from a rental perspective. Right? Because she was motivated and she told you that.
She did.
She told you, right? So so again, to answer that question, I'm kind of talking to you, but I'm really talking to everyone else out there that had these questions, and that, is it a good time? So again, it's a good time because you want to be ready. It is going to open back up. People are still booking. You don't have to wait. You're not going to make as much money today as you're going to be making when you start getting the whole gamut of folks that are coming, but you're still going to be making money, and you've proven that. You've proven it, right? So with making almost $5,000 in your first 3 weeks of having your place, and then the as far as being able to really cherry pick those opportunities that are out there, those exist too. And in some areas, it's still that much more. Like, it's still pretty prevalent where you can go out and, you know, there's landlords that are still very, very, very motivated. So it depends on where you are as well. And then the other thing is that with respect to Airbnb, there's some other opportunities, and I'm not gonna, but those are the top two reasons why I say it's a great time. But you have to do it smartly. Don't just go out and just go and do whatever. And so because you will get hurt. There's that other group, not my students, but then there's another group where I've seen people they've just given up because they have houses, and in those houses they're looking for one group or one one party to come in and rent the whole house or
right.
Take the whole house for them to host. And so when they got bookings and they had a $5,000 or I'm sorry, $1,500, $2,500, $3,000, in some cases $5,000 booking, because the whole party took the whole house for 3 weeks or whatever. Now, when they get a cancellation, they feel that. Yeah. They felt it big time. And so, and that happened across the board, house after house after house. And Airbnb was saying, well, in fact, Airbnb wasn't saying anything to us as hosts. They were just saying, talk to customer service. Like, they weren't really saying anything to us. And it was a frustrating time. But many of those folks that were in that situation, they couldn't make rent. They didn't know what to do. They were just having things fail on them just across the board. So with us, because we have the shared housing, right? We have the shared housing model. You get someone that cancels, and it might be 200, 300, 500, maybe 1,000, but it ain't 5,000, 3,000, and across the board. So, and you have a mix. So I tell you, it is a great opportunity. Do it right. And we'll just kind of talk a little bit. I mean, what do you think about that?
I do agree with that. It is about doing it right, following the steps, because I can see how you can lose a lot of money in this if no one's booking. But with that business model that you set up, it's flawless if you do follow the steps. I did have someone cancel on me, and he had, I think, maybe a $1,500 booking when Como didn't open New York State back up into the second phase. So he canceled, he still had to pay for some part of that. But I'm like, wow, that was a booking from June through like August. And then a couple of days later, someone else booked, and it ended up just working out where if someone did cancel, someone's always looking to travel for business, so you can accommodate them. But what I have been doing is turning locals away left and right.
Come on.
Yeah, they're trying to book for birthday parties and everything, like that. But you got to stay focused and just every dollar, you shouldn't chase it. And I think I learned that too, because I had some guests that didn't want to leave and they were trying to extend 30, 40 days. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be a nice $800, but it just doesn't fit what I'm trying to do. But then someone just keeps coming and the place is just booked nonstop. So I am trying to find my second unit. Like you said, it is a little bit harder now because landlords don't seem to be as desperate because they have people renting, but I am searching. I think I want to get another 2 units before the end of the year.
Now, one thing you said, 2 units by the end of the year, it is June.
So yeah, my timeline was July.
You're gonna blow that out the water. Watch.
If I can manage, 9 to 12 rooms, because right now it is a lot to manage, one property. So
yeah, but that's because right now you don't really have a bunch of automation going on. You're still, you remember we go in 3 phases. First phase is getting familiar. Second phase is getting comfortable, and then third phase is becoming second nature. Right?
I do like that though, because I'm learning now the actual business by being hands-on. So I'm discovering, okay, I got the lock boxes outside, now the cleaners, they can get in. I don't have to be there. So just starting to learn how to eliminate my travel to the property is much better because I need to go out and find other units. So
yep. And then there's some other pieces with relative to software that I haven't introduced to you yet that you're gonna get into. And then, because literally, can you imagine, like, you have the 3 listings. Right. I have 20 something listings or more, right? And I'm only spending 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Just kind of monitoring, managing some things. Can you imagine, like, if you had just say 20 listings and you were doing things exactly the way you're doing it now, how much time would you be spending?
All day.
All day, right? Would you have time to be doing a Facebook Live with me right now?
I would be at a property probably right now, taking care of something.
So listen to me. There's a method to the madness. Yeah. Just be patient. You're gonna be just fine. And by the time you get your halfway through, you get your second unit and you're into that second unit, your second property, 30 days or so. Now some other things will start to will implement with you.
Okay.
And then you're gonna be able to start adding a unit as much as you want, because it's gonna just really just wipe out all the extra that you're doing now. And it's just gonna be a matter of you really managing your business, right, not really working. Right. And so everyone has to go through this phase where in the beginning you got to work it. I want you to know and understand your business, right? If you don't understand your business, then you can't. How are you gonna run it? How are you gonna operate?
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Yeah.
So all right. So now, and one other thing you said, and I thought this is kind of cool that you said, don't be chasing the money, right?
Is that don't chase every dollar.
Don't chase every dollar. And that you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of going to, like, the same premise of going to the grocery store when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Like, you start adding stuff to your cart that you know should not be in there because you're hungry. Yeah. Right? So the same thing, and what I learned very, very long ago in the beginning of my real estate career, 30 years ago, was